Some confusion over former President Donald Trump's position on an amendment on the ballot in Florida that would effectively overturn the state's 6-week abortion ban. He is a Florida resident, and he was asked about this overnight.
Well, I think the 6-week is too short. It has to be more time, and I've told them that I want more weeks.
So you'll vote in favor of the amendment?
I am going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks.
So the campaign then put out a statement that said Trump has not yet said how he will vote on the ballot initiative in Florida. With me now is former President Trump's running mate, Republican Vice Presidential nominee, Senator J.D. Vance. Senator, great to have you with us. You can help us clear this up. How can you vote for more than 6 weeks without voting for the amendment?
Well, I think all the president is saying, and of course he's going to make his own announcement on how he's going to vote on the Florida bill, is that he thinks that there should be more than 6 weeks. And he's been very consistent in that. He says he doesn't like just 6 weeks. He obviously doesn't like late-term abortion. I think like a lot of Americans, the president is sort of somewhere else on this issue. And he's also said that he wants abortion policy to be made by the states themselves individually and not by the national government. I think that's the most important thing here, is that he's, of course, opining on this as a Florida resident. But when it comes to national policy, John, President Trump has been extremely consistent that he wants abortion policy to be made by the states. Florida, California, Ohio, they're going to have different approaches. That's okay. What he wants is to focus on eliminating inflation, bringing down the cost of groceries and housing, and closing down that southern border that Kamala Harris opened up. That's where he's focused, and that's where we'll continue to focus for the remainder of the campaign.
He said he was going to vote for more than 6 weeks. So what's your understanding of how he will do that?
Well, I think what he's saying is that he doesn't like doing it at just 6 weeks. Obviously, he's going to make his own judgment on how he ultimately votes on the amendment. I think he's probably making an argument about how he feels about the issue. He's not making some proclamation about how he's going to vote on the amendment. And of course, they clarified afterwards that he wasn't making an explicit determination of how he's going to vote or announcing anything. Look, the president, I'm sure, will tell the American people how he's going to vote on it eventually, but he wasn't making an announcement last night.
There was a period in Donald Trump's life where he was not anti-abortion. Then he became anti-abortion, at one point suggesting that women should be punished if they have an abortion. Now he's saying he's for more than 6 weeks, but it's not clear how he's going to vote in an amendment in his own state. So that's why I think people are seeking clarity. You can understand that.
Well, John, the Dobbs decision, what it fundamentally did is this goes back to Democratic legislatures and the people, of course, who elect those legislatures. I think the president has said in a post-Roe, a post-Dobbs world, he wants voters to make these decisions. I think it's important to remember, of course, that Kamala Harris has come out for taxpayer-funded abortion.
Sorry, Senator, but he's a voter in this case. The reason it matters, in Florida is he's a voter. Go ahead.
Well, of course it matters what his position is, and I'm sure that he's going to say what his position ultimately is, John. But I do think it's important to say that between Republicans and Democrats have talked about trying to defund Christian hospitals that don't do late-term abortions. Donald Trump is trying to preserve some ability for the states to make these decisions. It is a very different approach to a highly contentious issue. I actually think what Donald Trump is trying to do is identify some common ground so that we can focus on the big national questions like, why can't Americans afford groceries and housing? That's what we're going to focus on when we win in November.
The former president, announced yesterday that he wants insurers or the government to pay for IVF. How?
Well, he's been consistent again in this, John, that he wants people to be able to afford to have families. And it's one of the reasons why we've supported an extended child tax credit that Donald Trump actually got done. He didn't just talk about it, he got it done. He supported a whole host of policies to make it easier for women to choose life, to bring new life into the world. And this is just part and parcel of his broader view that if we want to have more families in this country, and I think all of us do, we have to empower young women and young families to make those choices and to have access to what they need. You know this, John. I'm sure everybody who's watching has dealt with somebody, a friend or a family member who's struggling with infertility. It's a terrible, terrible problem that a lot of young families suffer in silence. I think all Donald Trump is saying is we want to help those families, make it easier for them to bring new families into the world.
How is he going to pay for it? Is this an expansion of Obamacare? Is this a mandate?
Well, look, I think you have insurance companies that obviously are forced to cover a whole host of services. The president explicitly said that he wants insurers to cover additional fertility treatments. I think it's also important to point out that it's become way too expensive to raise a family in this country, John, thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. A lot of young families feel like they don't have the ability to buy a home to raise a family in. They can't afford groceries if they have additional children. You can't separate the pro-life issue from the fact that it's become way too expensive to afford a family thanks to Kamala Harris's policies, and that's the thing that Donald Trump most wants to change.
How would this work if a state, and you believe that states should have the right to make these decisions, if a state bans IVF, but Donald Trump says he wants to guarantee and or pay for IVF for everyone who wants it, how would that work if a state banned it?
Well, John, I think it's such a ridiculous hypothetical because Alabama, which is maybe the most conservative state in the entire union, has actively protected fertility access and fertility treatments. There's no state in the union, whether a right-wing state or a left-wing state, that I think is trying to ban access to fertility treatments. And if Alabama is protecting this stuff, I think it's safe to say the whole country is as well. So,
well, but the court,
look,
but there was a
I
court.
think that
Who's
what
to
Donald
say
Trump
there's not?
again
Who's
wants
to
to
say that
do is
there's not another
protect
court?
access.
Who's to say there's not another court in another state that could decide that an IVF should be banned? It happened in Alabama for a minute. You also voted against a measure in the Senate that would have guaranteed access to IVF around the country. So it's possible, right?
Well, two things, John. First of all, yes, a court made that decision in Alabama, and like the next second, the Alabama state legislature fixed that problem and ensured women had access to these fertility treatments. And all that I voted on, John, is for religious liberty. I don't want Christian hospitals or Christian charities to be forced to do something that they don't want to do. We have multiple Republican measures that support fertility treatments, support IVF, but don't require Christian hospitals or other religious organizations to violate their conscience. I think all of us accept that we live in a big country with diversity of opinions. We want women to have access to this needed medical treatment. We also want to make sure that Christian organizations can live their conscience. I don't think there's any tension there or any conflict. And fundamentally, it's Democrats who are trying to force people to do things against their will. That is a way to inflame this topic instead of solving the problems for young families.
Is it fair to say the details on IVF haven't been worked out yet, how either the government or insurers would be forced to pay for it?
Well, John, of course, all details get worked out in the legislative process, and we're not in the legislative process because we haven't won yet. But I think that President Trump, again, just believes that we wanted women to have access to these fertility treatments. He wants to make it more accessible, more affordable for more families because we believe in the Republican Party, and Donald Trump believes American families are the foundation of our country. They're the best thing about living in this great country. You have a lot of young women today who say they'd like to have more children, but for some reason, health or financial, they're not able to. We want to try to solve that problem because we want young women and young families to have the family life that they want and that they choose.